Welcome to another Rolled in Reacts episode. Apparently, this customer does all their own repairs. And this car had new brakes installed at a different shop, but the owner had to come in the next morning because the brakes caught on fire while he was on his way to work. Customer states, repaired washer hoses myself, but I still have a leak. Customer states, had a brake light for a while, then my buddy helped me fix it, but the light just came back on yesterday. Customer states, I think I hit something on the road. Customer states, I have a hard time getting the car to stop. Very beautiful, very nice. This car came in with brake issues after the customer had topped off their brake fluid with ATF. And this fleet truck came in for its first oil change in 20,000 miles, and this is what that looked like. Apparently, the previous owner had done all the previous work on the car himself. Customer states, I always do my own repairs, but I just had to come in because I can't get rid of all this smoke I'm getting while driving. And this customer came in saying that he hears a loud whining sound every time he floors it. And this customer had installed used wheel bearings by themselves to save some money, but ended up having to come into the shop to get new ones. And this customer had installed a new oil pan gasket by himself and wanted the mechanic to make sure everything looked right. This mechanic had just put the car on the lift when he heard a meowing sound. Thankfully, the cat was just fine and ended up making the shop its new home. This car came in because the customer said it had a timing belt issue, but this is what the mechanic found. And this car came in because the tire looks unwell, said the customer. Customer states, my car clunks really bad. Can you check it out? And this Toyota came in mysteriously missing a connecting rod. This truck came in because the customer heard a loud bang from the wheels when driving home from work. This BMW M5 came in with some starting issues after the owner heard a loud bang when driving back home from work the day before. The owner of this car rolled in because of an exhaust leak after having had it repaired at another shop. This car came in with some electrical problems after a bad rainstorm. This customer had their friend install a sport air filter for them because why not? And this car rolled in with quite a list of expensive issues. The owner of this car had done some wiring work all by themselves, but had some trouble getting the trim back together. This customer came in for an oil leak after their friend had tried fixing it for them for cheap. And when your oil changes start looking this nice and shiny, it's probably best to make sure you have some good car insurance. And this customer had came in and said, just give me the tire rotation and don't try to screw me over. The owner of this car had some beef with a mouse, so he asked the mechanic what could be done about it, and this is the result. Customer states, clunking noises when going over bumps. And this customer had been in the shop before, but keeps refusing to give his full name, but the mechanic still suspects that it must be Flintstone. Customer states, hit a pothole and now car is really bumpy when driving. And this truck came in because it wasn't running right, and this is what the mechanics found. Turns out that a valve spring had broken on cylinder 6, and unfortunately the customer had to get a whole new engine installed. And this is what happens when your turbo blows up. And this Honda Civic came in after the owner had tried to install a lowering kit by themselves, but had apparently forgot to put the strut nuts back. Yep, that looks about right. And this customer came in saying that he was driving really fast on his way home from work, but then he heard a loud bang and the car just turned itself off. And this customer came in saying that they drove their truck downhill at top speed, but now can't tell how fast they're driving. I don't think I want to know what that is. And the owner of this Volkswagen had fixed his headlight all by himself. And this car had a little bit of a brake fluid leak. And this customer came in complaining about a rattling noise. This 2019 Chevy Silverado rolled in after the customer had hit something on the road. Customer states that they did their own exhaust repair, but now they have a leak. This customer rolled in saying, "I can't figure out what's wrong, I just renovated the brakes myself." Yup, looks good. The owner of this car came in complaining about a little bit of vibration. Customer states, car runs really badly and sounds weird. The owner of this car came in saying that it has gotten harder and harder to put the car in gear the past few months and wanted it checked out. Choo choo! This customer came in with their Hyundai saying they had quite the engine noise, and this is what the mechanic found. And this Ford F-150 came in after the owner had tried going off-road for the first time. The mechanic later said that the total cost ended up being $10,000. Customer states, wheels wobble a lot at higher speeds. Customer states, my engine thinks it's a cappuccino maker. Please advise. Customer states, someone keeps calling me all the time when I'm driving and my transmission has a weird noise. This customer had done some work on their parking brake all by themselves. And this mechanic had worked on this stock snap bolt for a solid 30 minutes when it finally started to turn. And the owner of this car came in because they complained about really poor acceleration. This vehicle came in because the owner thought he had a brake problem. And this old Volkswagen rolled in because the owner complained about it making too much of a pataka taka taka noise. This 2014 Camaro SS came in because the owner complained about a ticking sound. This G-Class Mercedes came in with some turbo issues. The owner of this car rolled in complaining about a vibrating steering wheel after having balanced the wheels all by himself. And this customer complained about their car being very bumpy when driving at lower speeds. This customer came in saying that they keep having to pump up their tire. And this car had a bit of a rodent issue. The owner of this Mazda 6 came in because they had no oil pressure after having some work done at another shop. The mechanic found a broken chain for the oil pump and a really worn out camshaft. The owner of this car had driven through a creek of water and had to come in to get their intercooler drained. Customer states, it's been getting harder and harder to shift the past few months. This car rolled in with brake issues after the owner had tried replacing the pads by himself. This truck came in after the owner complained about a loud noise when accelerating. Turned out that the driveshaft center support bearing was bust. This customer had their car in for a yearly service at another shop, but had to come in because they now have a misfire. This Hyundai came in because it suddenly stopped moving while the owner was driving on the highway. Customer states, weird transmission noises when putting it in drive. This car came in with some pretty loose lug nuts. This truck rolled in because the brakes caught on fire after the owner had installed some new rotors and calipers together with a friend. This customer came in saying that their car is clunking more than normal after their friend had borrowed it over the weekend. This Chevy Tahoe came in for a regular oil change when the mechanic discovered this. Customer states, my taillights keep peeing themselves. This Mercedes-Benz C-Class was apparently owned by an older gentleman who had borrowed it to his grandson for a couple of months, but had to come in with it because it had started to handle like a boat full of potatoes. Oof, now that was close. This car came in for a seasonal wheel swap when the mechanic found this. Customer states, wheel wobbles at higher speeds. La la la, la la la. Customer states, my car barely has any brakes. Please advise. The owner of this Lexus came in saying, I just bought this car and something's already wrong with the steering. Can you check it out? This car caught on fire as the customer was pulling in to drop it off at the shop. Apparently, the customer had noticed a burnt smell in the cab before arriving at the shop, and the mechanic suspected it to be caused by a faulty wiring job. This car came in with a pretty bad turbo noise. And the owner of this car had just installed new wheel bearings by themselves, but had to come in after one of their front wheels had driven right past them on the highway. Customer states, whenever I turn on the AC, my car squeals like a pig. Please advise. Customer states, I think I have a bad wheel bearing. When your oil filter starts looking like this, you're probably a little bit overdue on your oil change. And this mechanic was starting to feel a bit hangry, but thankfully was very well prepared. Looks good. Customer states, car handles like a boat and I hear water sounds when driving. And this customer had just picked up his new Dodge from the dealership when he accidentally lost control of it while trying to drift around a corner and ended up driving straight into a higher curbside. And this mold wagon wanted to be a Volkswagen again, so the owner had it in for some cleaning and this is how it looked afterwards. And this is what a bad ball joint looks like. If you ever heard mechanics say that the ball joint is loose, they don't mean the actual bolt, but the actual ball inside the socket inside the ball joint is loose. And this customer came in because the owner had tried replacing the electric parking brake by themselves, but it stopped working and now makes a weird sound. And this customer had done their own oil change. Customer states, car smokes like it's smoking 12 packs a day. Please advise. Apparently the smoke was caused by oil that was seeping out onto the engine because of a bad valve cover gasket. This customer fixed their engine problem all by themselves. And this car came in with a bit of a loose lug nut. This customer had their friend do some work on their car, but now complains about squeaky noises when driving over speed bumps. Customer states, I'm getting a weird smell in the cab. I'm thinking it might be a burnt wire or something. That will be $200, thank you very much. This customer came in with their Kia because they had quite the rattling noise. The mechanic found there to be very little oil left in the engine. And this diesel Ford F-250 came in because it wouldn't start after the owner accidentally put AdBlue in the fuel tank instead of the AdBlue tank. This mechanic was doing some wiring work on this G-Class Mercedes when he found a little souvenir. A pretty well-aged avocado. This car had just been in for some suspension work at a different shop, but had to come in because of a clunking sound. How to tell if someone has battery issues without actually starting the car or looking at the battery? Customer states, I know I have a V8, but I think it sounds louder than usual. Looks good. And this customer had to come in urgently after their son-in-law had borrowed their car for the weekend. This car came in because the owner said it kept overheating and leaking coolant, but they just couldn't figure out why. And this customer had their friend help them with an oil change, but they ended up splitting the O-ring for the oil filter housing. The mechanic discovered that the car also had pretty good knock-knock jokes. Customer states, truck won't start, please advise. The technician found 2 destroyed rocker arms and that the timing chain had snapped off into 4 different pieces. This car came in after the owner had been on a trip to the mountains, but while going up a steep hill he heard a loud bang and then the car just stopped moving. And you know, some heroes wear capes, but others changed their transmission in the parking lot of Napa. And the owner of this car came in for a pre-purchase inspection, and this is what the mechanic found. This Lincoln Navigator came in because the owner had done his own exhaust work and wanted to see if it was done right. That cherry bomb right underneath the gas tank was all I needed to see. This customer came in saying that their car is loud as hell after they had it in for some work at another shop. This customer came in complaining about starting issues, and this is what the mechanic found. This car came in after it had started to run poorly, and this is what the mechanic ended up finding.
Oh no!
And this van came in because of broken inner tie rods. Apparently, it had been sitting like this for 2 nights in a row, which caused condensation so bad that it soaked the whole interior. Customer states, my kids all have back problems after riding in the car with me. Turned out to be an electrical problem where the rear seats folded down whenever the turn signals were used. This customer came in saying that they do all their own maintenance work, but lately their brakes have been acting strange, and this is what the mechanic found. This cat excavator came in because the owner was tired of how much oil it was leaking and just wanted it all fixed. And you know, some days it's really nice to be a mechanic. You get an easy job, you're making good money, and then some days you just get a little tired. This customer came in saying that their car handles like a boat and wanted it fixed. Customer states, I don't know what happened, I was just pulling a trailer of concrete behind me. This car came in on a tow truck after the owner had been racing their buddy at a stoplight the night before. And this car came in for an oil and filter change, but the filter wouldn't come off, so the mechanic had to be a little bit creative. where you're supposed to drain it, where someone wanted to drain it. This truck rolled in because the customer said it had started to shift really roughly after their son had borrowed it for a week. Customer states, car lock doesn't always do what I want it to do. Please advise. And sometimes, you just gotta add a bit of extra weight to hit that torque spec. This customer came in for a clunking noise after their friend had helped them change a ball joint. The mechanic discovered that the ball joint was missing the snap ring and cotter pin. This car came in because the owner just couldn't open the window. Customer states, car makes a strange noise and battery light is on. And this mechanic just wanted to add some oil to the engine. And this car came in after the owner had lost control of it on the highway and hit a guardrail that just about guarded him from not sustaining any serious injuries. And this car came in with a bit of a leak. This customer came in complaining about really bad acceleration. And unfortunately for this customer, it looks like they will need an engine replacement. This Corvette came into the shop because the owner complained about a clunking sound when turning, and this is what the mechanic found. The owner of this Kia Sedona had done their own oil changes for years, but had to come in because the engine had started running really badly. And this customer came in with his brakes on fire after he accidentally topped off his brake system with power steering fluid. And this customer came in saying, you know, I had a clunking noise for a while, but I fixed it myself. This car came in after the owner said that he had been driving with a clunking sound for a few weeks and wanted it checked out. And this customer came in because their car had started smoking a lot after their friend had done their last oil and filter change. Customer states, just changed the spark plugs myself, but car now has a misfire. And this customer came in with their pretty new Hyundai complaining about an intermittent rattling noise. And when you don't want to listen to your mechanic, it'll sometimes end up costing you either way. Customer states, I have a really bad clunking sound and my truck struggles to shift gears. Can you check it out? The owner of this Ford Edge came in saying, whenever I go in reverse, the entire world is upside down. And this car came in because of a knocking sound. And this poor car hadn't had an oil change in God knows how long. And the owner of this car came in saying that they think they might have a leak. This Hyundai Tucson came in because of a strange noise coming from the engine. Nah, there's plenty more miles in them rotors. And this engine mount has definitely seen some better days. Customer states, truck doesn't want to move when in drive. The mechanic found the ring gear in the differential to be completely worn out. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, and until next time.